Hello, everybody. If it's Saturday and this show is happening, then there must have been some kind of Warhammer reveal show. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Tom. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hello, friends. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is a good one. Absolutely. Also joining us to talk about all things Warhammer-y, is our good buddy Chuck. What's up, man? Welcome back.
Hey, good to be back. Excited to talk some hot goss reveals.
That's right. That's right. We're getting into it here. We're gonna talk about all the stuff. Tom only has a little bit of time, but that's okay. We'll borrow Tom for as much time as we can here, and then he'll bounce out, and Chuck and I will finish up. All right. So, gentlemen, overall, let's start with the standard stuff. Tom, 40,000 foot view with this reveal. What'd you think? What are you excited? That kind of thing.
I'm at like a 7.5. Like I feel maybe an 8, maybe an 8. There was only one real miss, and it was like just because that the army doesn't interest me. I know for a lot of people, I don't know. Yeah, I would say 7.5. That feels 7.5, 8 feels about right for me.
Okay. Chuck, where are you sitting?
I'm at a solid. Scale. I'm a solid 8. I model wise in general, I'd probably be like right around that 7.5. But the fact that they at least announced start of next year, we'll see the old world finally release because all the rumors been delayed. I'm tired of getting dragged out on it. So now there's a date. I feel much more excited for it. I can start prepping for it. So yeah, that puts me up to a solid 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually fall in the exact same place. I'm gonna vote 8 as well, because I think this is like good hype.
You guys. You made me the negative person.
Oh, you said 7.5, 8. You're fine. You're in the same
You're close.
place.
You're in there.
Yeah, you round up to us. It's all good. And I get your point, and that's fair. Like you had a very good reason for being slightly different. I think we're all very positive on this, right? I agree with you completely. We got solid dates. We got a confirmation on range reveal. We got, really a lot of cool stuff for what's coming up in AoS. So honestly, this was the fantasy side of this was amazing. I think if you're a 40K person more, this probably wasn't as interesting for you.
Well, it's going to be interesting for them because they got 2 codexes announced, and that's a big shift to the meta. So I imagine on that end, maybe not model-wise, but rules-wise, gameplay-wise, probably excited on that front.
That's fair.
Sure. That's a fair point. Speaking of 40K, I mean, it's not really our prime focus, but let's just talk about it real quick. We'll just move through the 2 articles. You did mention the 2 new codices. We have Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necrons. So good. I'm so glad we got the Necrons so I can say Necrons like 100 times. Okay.
Robot Necrons.
The robot Necrons. A bunch of robots. So let's start with the Adeptus Mechanicus. With this goofball, just completely leaning into the silly. I see we are with Mr. Stiltlegs here as our new character. Truly, I do love how silly this army is.
I love his super low-hanging exhaust pipe.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. His little tail, yeah.
I just see this and I want like a flat cap on him, like he's out in the British countryside hunting with that gun.
Yeah,
like just we have a robot top hat for Archaeo. Why can't they have robot flat caps for these guys? Lean into it.
If this game was like a completely true line of sight, boy oh boy, would this guy be a nightmare? He's just walking around like, shoot me! I'm very tall.
Right. But he can also shoot anybody he wants.
It's true. Right? That's true. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it's 2 different builds. The dude, obviously, I'm not going to get into the rules and all that because I don't play enough 40K to be able to speak to all that.
Next.
Then we also got our Necrons, which has this new Lord guy, which don't we already have, like, a lot of these Lords? I feel like we get so many of these
I don't know.
Necron Lords.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw this guy in a Magic card one time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. like that art's been around forever. It's just finally it's a model. Sure, great. It's fine.
That's cool.
It's fine.
Agreed. It's fine. Okay. Now, let's jump to the things that we're probably deep and want to have some conversations about. Let's talk about the return of an old friend from the launch of AoS. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Ionus Cryptborn. This was the Lord Relictor who was in the original launch box alongside Vandus Hammerhand, Mr. Skullface with his little skull banner. Basically everybody's Lord Relictor model, right?
Yeah, everybody.
But there's a named version of him, which was Ionus Cryptborn, which was the guy in the story. And he's back, baby! And it says here, in order to continue on their quest, the warriors of Sigmar must rely on the help of a dubious ally who has not been seen in the mortal realms for as long as many can remember. Enter the God King's prodigal son and first Lord Relictor, Ionus Cryptborn. He's still got the skull thing going on. He loves a good skull mask. But now he got himself a dragon. Okay, this model's amazing.
Not just any dragon, too. Like a super shady one, they said.
Yeah.
Yes. Which, tell me more about that. Like a sinister Draconeth. Go on.
So just like from the realm of death, the realm of shadow? Is it just a pain in the butt type dragon that no one else likes? So, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but he never became useful. So he just stayed mean.
Well, you can tell he's evil because every time they zoom in on his face, the dragon goes...
shifty eyes.
And looks to the sides like that. That's how you know he's evil. Yeah.
What I'll say is this. This is a sculpt.
It really is. It's so good. It's so good. That let's not sleep on that flowing cloak coming up around his back. Like the movement, the crouch of the dragon is really, really good. I love everything about this guy, man. The wings are fantastic. His new armor with the rib bone thing on the chest looks really cool. This is the kind of stuff I want to see in a model like this. Like for a special guy like this thing is amazing.
Right, and I'm excited because he's probably not Hammers of Sigmar anymore based upon the lore and stuff.
I would guess not.
Yeah, can I put him in all my army that's not Hammers of Sigmar and get full benefit of the rules? I'm excited for that.
I mean, it did say that he forsook his old chamber, which that wasn't in any lore previously that I'm aware of. Like it might have been in one of the novels. Like I knew he was being pulled. Chuck, we talked about this, right? Like there was clearly some movement or something going on with him, and then he dropped out of the narrative, and then suddenly we find out he's been gone for centuries. What?
Right.
I didn't know Stormcast went rogue. Right? Like this is new.
Not that rogue. They're the Night Questers. They got a goal, but he's just peace out. I'm doing something.
Yeah, he's been searching on Rip. He's been searching like Astria Soulbright in the current narrative. He's searching for the solution to the flaws in the reforging. Right. So,
right. But he's described as a dubious ally, right?
Yeah, sure.
And that having abandoned his prior chamber, and they said that, and I was like, why didn't you lead with where was this narrative wise?
Yeah.
When we found out that Stormcast can and will forsake Sigmar or will leave their army, leave their posts.
Yeah, he didn't forsake Sigmar. He left his chamber and he's off on his own mission. He's still following, he
went AWOL.
Yes. Well, being AWOL in Stormcast is really hard. I'm really excited because that means all these hundreds of years, thousands, however long it is, I'm not sure, that he's been gone, he has probably not died. Right. Because that'd be real awkward. That's the walk of shame, reforging, hey, welcome back.
Exactly. It's the same thing with why demons can't go rogue very easily, because every time they die, they have to go back to where they came from, right? From the story in the very first, speaking of Ionus, in that very first engagement, they killed a bloodthirster, and that bloodthirster got knocked back to Khorne's palace and then had to report to Khorne, and Khorne's like, why did you die? You're one of my great champions. And he's like, I don't know, some Stormcast dude hit me with a hammer. I don't even know what these things are. And he had to explain to Khorne what Stormcast were. Yeah. So yeah, it's a real problem when you automatically return home when you die. So yeah, he hasn't died for a long time is clearly the truth there, because he hasn't been himself reforged. You mentioned one other thing, Tom, which is worth talking about. Yeah, there's his original sculpt, obviously.
Yeah.
There.
So the other thing that we've learned that's super fascinating to me is actually a narrative piece, which is he's an arch relictor, which suggests that there's another tier now in the hierarchy of we had Lord relictors and Knight relictors, but now we have an arch relictor. So we may have another tier of a bunch of different Stormcast. And I wonder if it'll all be named folks because there's only a handful of them or what. But I thought it was super fascinating that this new arch categorization within the Stormcast hierarchy.
Yep, and you can see here that we've got what'll clearly be our box as well, because Ionus Cryptborn takes flight alongside 2 Fire-Belching Stormdrake Guard in Cryptborn Stormwing, a box which will be released alongside Dawnbringers Book 3, The Long Hunt. So there's your new box, the 2 more dragons and that. Here's my question,
I'm ready
Tom.
for a $200 box.
Well, as we'll see in a moment, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have their own army of renown. Mm-hmm. So is that a dragon army? Is that what I'm hearing here? Do we have a dragon army?
I mean, I think so, and it's probably going to be like $200 for that starter box. All because right. he's sitting firmly in the 130 category, and then the Tomb Stormbreaker are normally like what, 210? Or 110? Sorry,
I something like that. I don't remember. Yeah.
I think it's 210 for 2. Yeah.
So. Awesome stuff. Let's Cinderfall said in the show they talked about the Seraphon working with him. Very cool. All right. So yeah, I mean, this guy's amazing. Excited to see. I'm glad that Dragon.exe meme might become just an official army list. That's great. Let's keep going because we've got. I'm mindful of Tom's time, and I want to make sure we get time to have him react to all this AOS stuff.
Yeah, this subcategory here, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely amazing. Let's talk about the other new character we're getting. Holy crap! Belthanos' first Thorn of Kurnoth has arrived. He is responsible for keeping the spirit of Kurnoth, the Sylvaneth god of the hunt, alive, and should his eternal chase ever cease, the dim embers of godhood would gutter out forever. Okay. What? I'm sorry. What? A Kurnoth hero riding a giant bug? I didn't know what I needed in my life, but this is it. This is it. This is the thing.
I gotta say, the Lady of the Vines also has a splinter. Her spear is a splinter from Kurnoth's spear, so is this one. But he's the one that if he dies, we're in trouble. We lose that god. Come on.
That's why he got the bug.
Just give us Kurnoth. Hey, he's got the bug.
Yeah.
Boy, that Ryan pose on that mount. Oh my goodness, I love the roots just holding him on there. He doesn't have Alarial size, so he's got to use his roots. He's got cheat.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't have the Alarial grip, right? Yeah, them super thighs. Yeah, so he has to I am Groot it onto the bug to make sure he can hold on. Yeah. Yeah.
So this was my 7. Because I'm just not interested in the army. But that's what I said. Some people really are into it, right?
Got it.
Some people are really into Kurnoth, right? And
I picked it up yesterday.
Indeed.
I like them.
And so I get it, right? I get that because this also suggests that there may be a new direction, it's been hinted at before in prior editions, or new options or possibilities for building out Sylvaneth, right?
Yeah.
As they move forward.
I am stoked for this guy. First of all, by the way, everybody watching, if you haven't hit like for awesome Kurnoth guy on a giant bug. And or Ionus Cryptborn coming back. I love, by the way, the return of special characters like that, where they get a glow up. This is the kind of stuff they should be doing. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. Because it moves the narrative, it's an amazing model, and it gives us new options for play. It is a win on all 3 fronts. This is the kind of, this is the thing, folks. This is it. Yeah, this guy's amazing. I mean, I don't know what to say about him, other than you're right. He has the Orion pose, sounding the horn. So you can see all the details here of his giant little bug, which has a super cool look. I love the bug. I love him. I love his leaf cloak. I mean, I'm in for this guy completely. He will obviously also show up in the book. He will also have his own army. And he also obviously will have a box, because here's the box. It's 3 Kurnothi, 3 of these little dudes, and him. And so it's perfect core for the new Evergreen Hunt Army of Renown, which features in the Long Hunt. So there you go. This hard-hitting force of Kurnoth hunters and flying cavalry forsakes the regular Sylvaneth hit-and-run tactics in favor of escalating buffs unlocked by running down prey. It can also be used in a more traditional thing. So what that tells me is, okay, the Army of Renown does not have Strike and Fade, right? That's got to be what they're like.
No.
Why do they just use the actual
Strike and Strike
words?
Again.
Right.
Yes.
It's okay, got it.
This is they have the rule called balls deep.
Yeah, just getting all the way in there. Yeah. So, man, these guys are great. Tom, I've always loved Kurnoth, as many people have. Kurnoth and Tree Lords are my things. I don't really like the little fiddly elves, but I can handle some Bug Riders too. I think the Bug Riders are pretty cool. So yeah, so that's a good combination there. Man, just awesome. Like, two incredible models leading up two forces. I'm honestly pretty excited about. Like, Tom, the reason. Tom, I have a big Sylvaneth army. Why don't I play my Sylvaneth, Tom?
You hate trees. Like,
Boom.
you hate like the terrain trees, not
The terrain
like
trees.
like painting trees.
Correct. I hate the terrain trees. So, if this army of renown, okay, does not use the Sylvaneth Wildwood rules, which who knows? Like, I don't know. Maybe it just will, because maybe that's just what Sylvaneth does all the time. But if it doesn't, if they were like, you know what, screw it, with the army we can just jettison these stupid things out of here. I'm back on board, baby. Sylvaneth are back on the menu. Like, that's all it's gonna take. Just get rid of those stupid trees. Just let me like overgrow terrain or whatever, like you did partially in the basic army, right? That's all.
I mean, trees and trolls or trees and trogs have a nice ring to it. That's all I'm saying.
It does indeed. It does indeed, my dog. It does indeed. Okay. So, all right. So there's that. And then let's go back. And then here we go. Boom. So speaking of book 3, The Long Hunt, Ionus Cryptborn on the... I love, by the way, the difference between artists' imaginings and reality, because look at the cover, right? And how small Ionis is compared to the size of his dragon. He's like writing Karzai on the cover, right? Like, that's the size comparison. But then in reality, the model's like, not really. It's a big dragon, but it's not like that big. So yeah, The Long Hunt. It's the continuing narrative, so of course there's a big Path to Glory thing in there. Yep, great, okay. And then they mention in here somewhere the other armies that are going to be in here. There we go, okay.
Ogre.
There are 4 new armies of renown. The 2 headline characters have their armies represented in the Evergreen Hunt. And the Draconoth Skywing, a force of mounted Stormcast Eternals. Is it all dragons? Okay. And then... Ogre players can eat their fill with the Roving Maw, which turns the battlefield into a tapestry of ravishingly toothy orifices. Oh boy, that's a loaded sentence. That nibble and chew at units who stray too far from safety, as Gutbusters and Gorgers nimbly weave between them. So clearly we have using the new Gorger guys that are in that thing. Yeah. And then, Tom, here's an exciting one for you. The Lothar Droth Keepers round things out, pairing Vulcan Flame Seekers, which is those other new guys, right?
Yep.
With Magmadroths that embody the searing ardor of Volcatrix, and especially bold Flame Seekers can hitch a ride on these flame-filled beasts as they charge into battle.
But did you see that rule?
Skilled Droth Wranglers. Once per turn of your movement phase, you can pick one friendly Vulcan Flameseeker unit wholly within 6 inches of a friendly Magmadroth that has not yet moved in that phase, and say that it will hitch a lift on the Magmadroth. If you do so after you've moved that Magmadroth, instead of making a move with that unit, remove from the battlefield and set it up again on the battlefield wholly within 6 that Magmadroth and more than 3 inch from many units. Yes. So your
mobility, baby,
guys, can ride on top of your Magmadroths and get a ride. Magmadroths are what, 12-inch base move? Is that right?
Yes, but you can get that up there. Mm-hmm. So you could get like 20 inches across the table, right? And then hop these guys out another 6. So there's actually now there's a question of combat effectiveness, right? Like you can't deliver these to alpha, right? Because that's not what these types of models are. But what I will say is this: it's a really interesting play for taking objective, because it allows you to have a mag and a unit of these guys and really reach out and grab unguarded or underguarded objectives.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy mobility for an army that was normally actually lacking that. So it's limited to the little Flame Seeker guys, but still, I sense those guys are going to be pretty popular. And by pretty popular, I mean the 4 Fire Slayers players in the country will all buy them, so that's nice. That's a good sales bump for them.
Yeah, I will.
The jokes. I mean, overall, what do we think about Dawnbringers Book 3 with this stuff in there? That sounds pretty exciting. Sounds like some pretty exciting stuff.
Clearly, FEC is waiting till the next book. I mean, what I'll say is this: I like what we're seeing. The ogres look amazing. I like the Gorgers. So I'm 10 Stormcast.
Yeah, sure.
like 7-ish, 6.5, 7 Kurnoth.
Okay.
Probably 7 Gorgers.
Okay.
And then like 8.5 Fireslayer.
All right.
So hence my like 7.5, 8 score.
I get it. I get it.
Good.
You know, I mean, I'm stoked about the. It also says, by the way, it does mention that Korgus Call is going to be back in the mix here. After he apparently killed an entire, I guess, continent.
Ironjaw's fist or something. Yeah.
Well, he like killed a whole continent or something. Yes.
Yeah.
Because remember, he killed the whole continent was alive, and so he killed that thing. That was like his big offering to Khorne, right? So, assumingly, we'll get some mention of him at least in the story. They didn't mention an army of renown for Khorne, so maybe we have to wait till book 4 before he gets his full army of renown or whatever.
So I'm just excited for the story continuation because the first book was kind of slow. It's all right. The second book really, like, the story is really gripping, and the third one I'm hoping they just keep continuing it because I like the way it's flowing. I like the way it's feeling. I still think somehow Alariel's going to be the one that stops the Gyran.
Okay.
If one of them's going to pass, one's going to fail. I think Akshi's going to succeed. But I think Gyran's gonna not succeed based upon like Alariel doing something, maybe just to make it interesting.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the right read. I mean, I'm excited for the Ogre Army of Renown because I think the new Gorger models are actually pretty good. I've always liked the Gutbuster side more than I like the BCR side, so it's cool to have another option there. So that's exciting to play that. I'm very excited for the potential of alldragon.exe, the army. That sounds fun. I'm excited about potentially actually putting my Sylvaneth on the table. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Could happen. It could happen.
Gentlemen, I need to bounce. But it's been enjoyable. I'm excited for the old world players to finally have a deadline. Yeah. So good on you all. Hey, keep an eye on eBay. High elves are going up soon.
Exactly. All right. Very good. Take it easy, Tom. Have a good day with your kids.
See y'all. Bye.
Okay. Chuck and I are going to continue boldly on here, talking about the rest. So, yeah, I mean, like, overall, I agree. I think that, by the way, Chuck, I watched your readout when you were bagging on Pontifex
Sinestra.
Yeah, I was watching you bag on her, and I'm like, yep, totally with you. I agree. Like, she's a lunatic. She's a complete lunatic, right?
I don't know where, like, I applaud it. I'm not bemoaning it. The whole concept of the wheel is like their symbol of religion is just asinine.
Yeah, why don't you just actually make the Chaos Star your religion, Pontifex? How can you not see you're being manipulated here?
Great model, great rules. Everyone's going to use her. I refuse to use her out of spite. I don't know. Just she's too crazy. I love Marathi. She's too crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Absolutely. So, very interested to see what our new armies of renown are. I'm excited we're getting like 4 full new armies of renown. That's going to be really interesting options. And yeah, man, I am super stoked for these new models. So overall, I mean, book 3 looks like a banger. It wasn't the, and we were pretty decent on. Let me see here. Let me see if I still have my. Do I still have my guesses? Okay, my guesses for book 3 for what was going to be in there was Sylvaneth, Khorne, Ogres, and Seraphon. Okay. And then we had said maybe Stormcast. So what we actually ended up with was Sylvaneth, Ogres, Stormcast, and Fire Slayers. So, and then Khorne gets a mention, but it doesn't sound like they're getting an army of renown, sadly. But clearly they're a big.
No, they got to be. They got to be the big final boss for the Akshi campaign. They have to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you put them in book 4. I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right. Of course, that's right. Yep. Okay. All right. So Charles Hollum says the Gorger's rule really bugs me. It will never not be in effect, so just delete the worthless text. Yeah, I mean, sure, because you're saying if they're not wholly within 1 inch of a terrain feature, sure, like just don't put them on terrain and then you never have to worry about it. They always have run and charge. Yeah, I guess it's some movement limitation, so that's fine. It's still cool. I'm interested to see how the unit of Gorgers shakes out and how that's going to play in the Army of Renown or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, how's it even still like? How's it just going to play in the new book? Like, what's its role going to be? Is it?
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like, are we
I
gonna
love them. I love the
fundamentally
models.
change them? Yeah, agreed. Are we
Right.
gonna like fundamentally change their role or their function or something? Okay, boom, boom. Quick kill team thing here. We'll just jump into this because I am to understand that why this kill team thing is exciting is because of the new striking scorpions. Like, I guess those hadn't been remade yet. Is that correct, Chuck? Am I understanding?
Yes,
right?
they were like early 1990s metal, big chunky. They were hideous.
Gotcha. Not ever having like I never liked Eldar even when I was playing 40k originally back in the 90s. So like none of this was on my radar. I had a buddy who would play Eldar and things would just run at me and then my stuff would die. So I didn't really know what was going on. And didn't bother to ever learn their units. But yeah, these guys look cool. But this is the new exciting thing, right? Hey, new plastic striking scorpions. So it's fine. They look like Eldar to me.
Yeah, they're fine. They were never my favorite unit. But and I play Eldari, so they're okay. I don't know. I don't care for them, but
Sure.
They're cool that there's a new model. Anytime there's an updated to an old model, great, fantastic.
Right. Charles Hullum said it's wholly within 1 inch. Will his bases ever be within 1 inch? Well, keep in mind, Charles, you can be on the terrain, and then you're wholly within 1 inch of it. So you can't be on the terrain, is what it's saying. Like,
or you can go to Nashcon.
Yeah. Like the point being is if they walk up on terrain, they can't run and charge. That's what the rule's actually saying. At any rate, yeah, these guys look good.
Yep.
We're slowly getting all our plastic aspect warriors out. I guess it's gonna trickle out over time. So that's fine.
Sure.
One of the things about this is they with the Eldar, they really are just always clearly trying to live up to the original Jess Goodwin sculpts because obviously he was the one who did most of the original army, and there's just not a lot of room for improvement, I think, there. And so they're like,
for being the elf trope, they're so uniquely Warhammer because of the way he designed. So going too far away from it would probably lead you into something that you didn't mean to be copying of a sort. So like, why not lean into what kind of, like you said, is perfection to a point?
Yeah.
How can we adapt and change it?
Yeah, it's really just like taking the old sculpt, applying the modern technology we now have to like sharpen the model, refine the model, get the clean detail on there, maybe add a little bit of touches here or there, like these little tiny thingies on his legs, right? Like having these little tiny extra cut-ins and stuff you couldn't have done on the old metal sculpts or stuff like that, right? With a silicone mold. So yeah, just very, very small details, things like that. And then are these scouts just the same scouts that we already had, or are these new scouts as well? I can't recall. Like the scouts with a new sprue.
I think it's scouts with a new sprue, because that's what they've been doing with the kill team, take an existing kit and add an extra sprue to give them options, because I don't think they had the heavy weapons in the current re-release version of these. I can't recall.
Yeah, it looked like there was a couple new options from what I remember seeing with the scouts previously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because they did that with the Drakari one. It's like I was all excited, and I realized it's just a sprue, and I didn't care.
Sure.
Striking Scorpions. Buy this box for that.
Okay. Vincent Alico said this is the first release of the new scouts. Oh, okay, cool.
It is. Oh,
very good.
Okay,
cool.
I feel like
the scouts hadn't been released. Nice. I saw. I thought I'm just confusing the preview because again, not a Space Marine player. So if it's not a big giant walkie stompy robot, I'm not paying attention to it. All right. Yeah, but these guys are good. I like them. They're really good designs. Really good. Like the faces on these look really good, actually.
They're gonna be so much better than the old ones too. Now, since these are the first time we get it, because the old ones are on 25s. They're so small. They're so tiny.
Right.
We're confusing the Black Templars. They kind of had their neophytes.
I bet that's what.
That's where we're thinking, because they look almost similar.
Yep. So yeah, good stuff. Cool guys. I got some terrain that comes in that box. Yep, cool pieces. That's fine. And then there you go. There's your battlefield. Very nice.
That's a pretty nice battlefield, actually.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I like that. Great for kill team.
Absolutely. So pretty cool stuff overall. 2 basically new forces there. Pretty nice. And like you said, more plastic. The journey toward all plastic aspect warriors continues. And then, I mean, we certainly, this is like, I don't know if it's the best for last, but it's certainly the biggest for last, because this is where they packed a lot of information into this last one. So we finally, Chuck, got our full story on the old world, like all the deets, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
The full Bretonnian army, and when it's being released.
Right. Which the release date confirmation, because we've been going for how many years has it been? 3, 4. It's been a while with these slow.
No, it's been longer than that.
It's been longer.
Yeah, the first mention of this was like 2020.
I'm very blessed in my area to have a local crew that still plays fantasy battles, so like I get my rank and flank fill. Sure. So I haven't been like, oh, I need this game. I'm like, when this game comes out, I'm excited for it. But to get a confirmed released window to see, I'm assuming everything here is like this is just the full Bretonnian.
Yeah, they say
line that you can expect to buy. Yeah, okay.
Yep. So here we go. So there's been a long-running development diary, lore, art, weapons, concepts, blah blah blah. Today's reveal is a little more expansive. So here's the video. It's gonna make noise, so I'm gonna stop that. I'll just let this play for a minute. We can all watch this video. I mean, it's worth it. Somebody put one of their video designers put a lot of effort into this, and I'll just talk over it while this is happening. So we got to see. We know all the new kits that are happening now. We know what's coming back and what's so what old kits are being used. We know what's in resin and what's in plastic, and we know that there'll be some special order stuff. And then not to bury the lead, but the Reaveal or the launch of this, they said is in they say Q1 2024
Q1
or something.
Right. So
Q1
best guess, I would say end of January would be a good guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Like
My God, Dan, is that real? He said the first mention was Nova before the pandemic. I thought it was 2020, but it was Nova before the pandemic.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
2019.
Wow.
So yeah, 5 years. I originally had said 4 years and thought I was being, everybody else was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. It's going to come out so soon. And I was like, it's going to be 4 years.
Yeah.
I was undercutting it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay. So let's talk about the range. Let's go through this. So first up are the new plastic kits you haven't seen before in all their glory. So the Lord on Pegasus. Now we actually did see a little leak of just the Pegasus alone in plastic earlier in the week. But here we have the Lord on Peg, classic hero. Glad to see this resculpt. Still looks like the guy. It's a good glow up of this model.
Oh yeah.
This is like my second favorite model I've seen out of the range. He is in plastic. And he looks really nice. Clean, sharp, not too busy, good details. Like the Pegasus looks great.
Lots of places for for like me, I'm gonna put transfers. Vince, I know you look at those shields all over him and go, wow, freehand.
You got it.
For days.
But that's just it. It's fine. Go either direction. I'm never against transfers, right? Like go for it. That's why I mean, I've used a ton of those Bretonnian transfers on everything.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, and let's be honest too, those wings, like they did those wings kind of quickly. Like, I can't tell if it's like a contrast, but like, man, you could put so much love into those wings. Just I mean, it's gonna take a while, line after line, but oh my goodness, that would make that pop even more.
I agree. The design on the wings is really sharp. They clearly just went like, some white.
Let's contrast this. Move on.
You got a lot to paint. Okay, we got this whole we got a whole new range or whatever. Because they clearly did a new army up for this reveal. So yeah. Imagine being the guy in the army painter or studio or whatever, because I think some of these were done by the army painter studio, who like everybody else is getting new kits and you get the Knights of the Realm from like 2001. Like, come on, man.
No, you find the one guy in there who like still loves Bretonnians, still wants to paint them, because he's gonna be like, heck yes, give me this classic model. Let me do what I couldn't do when I was young painting.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy's great, and he can also be built instead of as a general. So here's some different pictures of him. So that's fine.
Weapon options. Yep. Crown. Just even the horse. The head has different options too.
Yep. You can see different head here, unarmored. Here you got the armored head with the extra sort of barding coming up as well. So yeah, like really cool options. So different. You can build your choice of either a lofty duke or slightly less high-ranking baron. So very cool. And then also he can be a battle standard bearer.
BSB.
So there you go.
And it's gonna be real interesting because as an 8th edition player still currently, considering putting my BSB not in a unit, it's just like why would I waste my time and effort? But they said the rules are changing. I mean, I did a video where we broke down one of the articles, and it looked like the way they placed the heroes, that they might be something kind of like near a unit is sort of attached, even though they're outside. So I'm hoping something like that, because also like this model should just be out on its own. You should look at it across the table and be like, oh dang, look at that thing, not hidden in a unit.
The worst thing they could ever do would just be to recreate the way 8th edition worked. Like, I mean, no offense to people who are still playing 8th, but 8th had so many really like catastrophic flaws. And one of them was that you were suicidal if you put anything outside of a unit, right? Because it was just going to get cannonballed. Like, everybody, the old 10-inch from the back thing was just the stupidest set of rules ever that we all put up with. Right? It was just dumb. Just dumb. And, like, that doesn't mean you have to go back to guess range, though I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'd be much more interested in this if we went back to guess range stuff. I loved guess range, but that's just me. But, like, you know, just make it so heroes can actually exist outside of units, not immediately get obliterated. And so, you know, and these, like, let these beautiful models you've designed actually work, right?
Also, I have no idea how you'd ever rank this model up.
Yeah, sure.
So,
yeah, I mean,
please,
clearly
please,
the
give us
guy
that set.
traditionally couldn't go in units, and so I assume that'll still be the case.
True.
Other new kit here, another new plastic kit. This is still in the plastic kits portion. Is our new Knights of the Realm on foot. This was like a very requested unit back in the day. I remember, like, people were begging for this for years. People made alternate rules for them. Like, I'm pretty sure Ninth Age ended up creating this as an actual unit.
The old edition of Skirmish had this, but I don't think did they ever release like more than like maybe one model for it, or was that a kit bash even on that picture? I don't know.
I think they had I think it was the one model that came out of some side game that was this, because I don't know if there was, I know there was a Mordheim guy that existed at one point that was this. But anyways, like, yeah, man, these dudes look pretty good. The Knights of the Realm on foot. Like, I'm actually pretty impressed by this. They have a really interesting, I like their little standard, by the way, the lady in the box.
The shrine.
Yeah, in the little shrine. I thought these were pretty darn good. Like, Dakota says they look meh. Okay, that's fine. I don't know, man. These guys hit for me. I thought they were pretty cool. I like their look. I like their helmets. I like the way that their little flourishy, I don't know what to call it. This thing has a name, but their little cloak.
The fleur-de-lis?
Yeah, like that particular piece they're wearing has a name when it just covers, when it doesn't have sleeves.
Like a duster? I think it's duster, yeah.
I don't know. Whatever it is, cool. I like it.
Yes. Plus, also, this opens up just the entire, like, there's how you build the Bretonnian armies in old editions, obviously.
Yeah.
But with this existing, that changes up entirely. You don't have peasants just trying to take the blunt, and hopefully there's a lord nearby to save them with things. Like, this is... I have more than just knights running out there to do some work, and that's kind of exciting. I don't have a Bretonnian army, but this would be a good chance to start one up potentially, because like those guys are just cool to me.
Yeah, I do have a huge Bretonnian army. Thankfully, that'll be pretty much ready to play day one. But I don't have this unit, so maybe this would actually be a nice chance to paint up this new thing. I mean, I do have I already have a Lord on Peg and many Knight Lances and all the peasants. And the nice part is, all of my peasants and Knights of the Realm that I have, of which I have a bunch, guess what? I'm still good to go, baby. I'm ready.
Yep.
Day one. So yeah, these guys, this has been requested for years, and very happy. Surcoat. That is the name of it. Thank you, Peter Ankhorn. That is exactly the word I was looking for. Surcoat. That is it. I just want to point out that clearly we've got two different builds here. If you noticed the first picture, they were classic, because obviously, you know, Warhammer Fantasy, throughout all the editions, your weapon loadouts mattered in some way, right? And so the Knights of the Realm build 1 is sword and board, right? So your classic +1 to, who knows what the rules will be, but this is classically your +1 to save.
Parry, save, even, whatever they want to do, yeah.
Sure. Could be parry and save, bonus to save. Could be just hand, weapon, and shield, so, you know, whatever, who knows. But then the lower group is the two-handed weapon, right? As they've all got the giant choppy axes.
I kind of, this isn't a complaint. This is me just wanting more after I see something beautiful and I love, because I love both of these. I wish there was more of like the giant two-handed sword options instead of just axes. I wish it was mixed, not for any other reason than that's what my brain wants.
I understand.
These are still great. They're still great.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I really like the look of these axes. Like both these models really did hit for me, and I've been pretty meh on some of the Bretonnian models so far because I didn't feel like the characters went far enough. The Pegasus guy worked for me. He's the right level. These guys work for me because they're infantry, so I don't want them more detailed, right? Like I want them to be like just like there's I don't know how to explain it, but there's some kind of sweet spot, and they hit it. Okay. Now I do want to point out one really funny thing here. See this guy in the front, what would be right, our left of the unit. Look at this guy with the two-handed axe. It's the guy in the front row, left side. Do you see this dude?
Yeah.
Look at his hat. Look at his helmet.
It's a little chapel.
He has the little shrine
chapel
on his head.
Well, not to backtrack. If you scroll up to the image above the musician, did you see his helm?
Yeah,
I like it better.
He has the lady on his head.
But he actually took the time to paint it. So he's painting miniatures.
He painted his helmet. Yes, like a person, like a little miniature. Like she has skin tone and colored hair and a dress. Yes.
When you have a painting contest at 5, but you gotta go save the realm at 3.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Charles Hollum said opinions on the paint scheme. Yeah. So this is like that. This is a particular paint scheme they've used throughout all of it, which is the red black for the Duke of. I don't remember who it is, but I know who this is, but it's the lore is just eluding me at the moment. Someone in the chat can probably mention it. But it's a particular Duke who was like the sort of who's going to be the
influential
character of this story. So like I love their goofy hats. Like these guys have the goofiest of hats, and I'm here for it. Dude has a boar with a sword in it. One guy's wearing a representation of the lady he has fully painted. Another guy has a tiny little other version of her, by the way, or something like that. You can see Shrine Head here.
Oh yeah, there's a dragon. The only one I don't like is the two-handed weapon, the far back left corner. That just the bowl that's just like the same size neck.
Yeah,
it's just, I'm like that looks derpy. I'm gonna put it on it, but it looks derpy.
Yeah. This kit. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Two-Headed Calf asked, did they say if this kit was resin or plastic? This is a plastic kit.
Plastic.
They confirmed these are the plastic kits. New plastic kits. So that's the new Lord, who can be built as the Battle Standard Bearer, the Duke, or the Baron, and then the Knights of the Realm 1 Foot. These are all plastic. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And no, it's fine. I just, cause with the call out of the paint scheme, I things like just to call out real quick, so people are aware these were in prior articles. It's been so long. So I understand people forgot. Even though it's a unified color scheme for Bretonnians, they said you can still do the old style, mix and match, do whatever you want entirely. I mean, we could always do it anyway, but they said that's still in the lore, so you're not going against anything. Also, Vince, I like to, you said that your army's ready to go, and I'm sure someone out there's be like, oh no, the base sizes are increasing. Sure, but they even said in prior article, if you and your local group don't change your base size, the rules still work.
Right.
So you're all good to go. The only time you need to worry about a base size is if you're going to go to an official Warhammer, I guess, run event, or even not official Warhammer, just like a competition where they want the new base sizes in use. So, if you're just playing locally at home, you're good to go day one. I'm gonna make a separate army that's that base size because I think some of my group isn't gonna upgrade their base size, so I can play everything.
Yep.
But don't feel. I just want to put that out there so no one's confused. It's like, oh, I have to paint my Bretonnians unified now. You do not. You have fun.
And let me tell you, Chuck, about the other thing I'm actually really excited about with this plastic kit, and they mention it here. And look, modern sculpting is what it is. We've achieved some incredible things with AoS models, but God knows, when I put together those, I just did my Brute Rekkas, right, for my Iron Jaws, and when you build those guys, it's the classic this part of an arm, then this arm and part of a shoulder and a quarter of the back, and then this part of the torso. You know what I mean? It's it's completely nonsensical what the various pieces are, and they only fit together in the exact sort of ways, right? And whereas this kit is exceptionally flexible, as the heads and arms can be used on any torso. We have the classic torso, arm,
legs,
head, legs design. Thank you. Great. Meaning you can just build instructions. What are those? Put them to the side, baby. You know what a torso is. You know what arms are. Get the thing out, put the models together how you like. No, too blessed to be stressed. Like, I love it.
Also too, just I think back, like I started in fantasy days, so that was what I had. So I learned to kit bash by just doing those basic swaps because it was easy. And now I'll take a tech list, I'll take anything, and I'm just like, cool, let's cut it up. And I'm confident with that. But now, if someone's new getting into it, not having that, they don't know where to begin to. It's. I'm glad that there's some form of this, even if it's obviously in a different game system. But the newer hobbyists, their first kit bash is going to be a head swap or a weapon swap. So
Absolutely.
Good. I'm okay with there being some of both in this world.
Yep. So great stuff. Okay, so now we have, it says 4 beloved regiment kits are meanwhile returning to the fray. Okay, so this is now we've moved into the returning kits that were still they were existing kits. They're still here. Dakota H says, no, that's something I can get behind. Any arm, any body. I agree, Dakota. 1,000% yes. My God, am I over the fiddly, how is this spruce sliced in a million ways? If you make
Should I bring this tree lord? Should I bring this back up? This is the worst version of that ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It looks great, but it's just like you're looking at random spheres and then suddenly you have a tree guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know how I get there at the end.
Yeah, random spheres, then all of a sudden tree man. Yeah. Okay, so our returning kits. The Pegasus Knights, which is fine. They were a plastic kit. It's fine.
The most important thing about this image is it shows their new base size, which from the front it looks to be the same, but it's longer for whatever reason.
Yeah, because they were squares before.
Yeah, now they're a rectangle of some sort. So that's probably the more interesting part about this picture.
Yeah, this is a non-existent previous base size. This one is actually net new.
Actually, it looks a little smaller. Yeah, it looks smaller too.
Yeah, so I don't know what actually this as a base size did not exist in fantasy, so that's going to be a net new thing. I mean, these kits are fine. I have a bunch of them still. I have a bunch of Pegasus Knights painted and even more unpainted. I think I have a dozen unpainted Pegasus Knights, so that's cool. Okay, it's good. It's fine. They show their age a lot. One of the things that's most sad to me is that we didn't get a full glow up of all of these things. Oh, you know what, Keith? You might be right. Maybe it is the old Demigryph Knight bases. Maybe that's not net new. I forgot they were on that base. Shoot. That
would make sense, Monsters Cavalry.
Yeah. You might be right, Keith. You might be right. Charles says, do these rank up? I can't imagine these actually rank up. I think they're going to have
these never ranked up. They were skirmish until you went into combat, so you just figured it out. So they never actually were intended to rank up.
Right. They always had the skirmish formation. Yep. So I assume that will continue.
Unless you do one giant guy in the front with a longer flight
stance. That's how I had all mine built too, at different heights. So they could get next to each other if they needed to. Because I had them all on different size terrain. The classic Warhammer Fantasy, I went and bought the columns from the from wedding toppers, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Topper columns. Yep. Went and bought a bunch of those for, pennies or whatever at the store, and then just cut them, sliced them, right? You just cut them in half, and then you have different size little things. But yeah, they used to be on squares. Okay, so fine, great. This is kind of sad to me. I'll be honest. I'm not thrilled about the returning kits. It's fun that I have an army day one, but at the same time, just putting this Pegasus Knight against that new Pegasus Lord, you're just oh boy, you know what I mean? The difference in quality of this sculpt is so big.
I mean, even me, I have kit bashed Daughters of Cain and Lumineth back to my old High Elves and Dark Elves, and I put them in the army. I'm just wow, that stands out.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoops.
Yeah. Right.
It's the nostalgia. The nostalgia in our brain makes it seem so much cooler, but compared to what they can do today, yeah. But I there's no chance, there's no reason why they might not eventually redo them if this game does take off. But it's still, my big thing with this is I'm hoping on the release of the entire game system, all the old kits aren't available, go made to order.
Yeah.
Not a mad rush. We made 6 or 7 of these. It's no. Made to order, it's gonna be 90 to 120 days, whatever it is, but you can just order your whole army and just wait and it'll come.
Agreed. And they talk about that at the end. So okay.
So
we've got perfect. They do, yeah. So Peggy Knights, plastic kit, obviously returning. So that's another plastic kit. It's an old plastic kit, but it is in plastic. The Knights of the Realm, classic.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we've seen these many times before, and they've talked about this coming back. So again, this was also a plastic kit. It is again. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, so keep in mind too, especially with these older kits, the scale's going to be the same even with the newer kits. So you buy those new Knights of the Realm, kit bash in, it'll blend things across a lot.
Yeah. Now again, this kit does really show its age, but it's as you can see here, it is still a very pretty kit. Like it's one of the better older kits. It's simple. There's nothing flashy it's doing, but it's fine. It's fine. Then we have the Men-at-Arms returning. So your classic peasants back in the mix. Again, a perfectly acceptable, fine kit. Nothing specifically wrong with it. And on the flip side of those guys, the peasant bowmen coming back. So again, both of these were also plastic kits. So that part of the range, this part of the range, all continues to be in plastic. It's interesting that when we see the bowmen, they're keeping the flamey arrow coal things and the spikes.
Well, I mean, it's still part of the sprue, so like it's not a surprise. Why would you throw away plastic you don't need? You'd find a reason for it.
Sure. So all of those things stay. And then let's see. Okay, blah blah blah. 32 archers. This is just talking about what's actually in the box. Yep. So all the stuff. It's basically just updated versions of the old boxes. So good to go.
New base sizes. Cool. Great.
Yep. And then now we get into the resin section. They're on 25s now, right? I mean, they used to be on
20s.
20s. Yeah. Yep. So, okay. Then the resin kits. So there's one new resin kit here, the Handmaiden of the Lady. Again, I have to say, if they can actually just make quality resin, which again, I know when we hear GW and resin, we immediately panic. Okay.
Don't. It's not fine cast.
But it's not like if they can, like, I hope this is the chance for them to leave behind the truly PR nightmare they created for themselves with years of Finecast. It is insane to me that they ruined people's perception of resin as a medium for miniatures with how terrible it was. I mean, like, that is catastrophic. Like, a generation of people all immediately hear GW resin equals garbage. Just garbage, right? But I really hope we don't have that with this, and that they've managed to level them up to like what the modern industry can do with resin. Because as I've said on the show 100 times, I paint resin models all the time from other producers, and you know what? They're great. They're good. They're clean. They're sharp. They're detailed. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
Just like, get there.
If you go into a friend or a shop or anywhere you can find it, like, look at the Horus Heresy resin.
Yeah, that
is such a good resin. I have a Horus Heresy army that I painted up, and resin kits I've done were fantastic to work with. I've also painted Finecast because I think that the Handmaiden for the High Elves that Darren Latham sculpted was amazing. There's no way I wasn't going to buy it. I don't care what it was made out of, but it's still painted up fine. But yeah, it's just like you have to be more careful with it. You have to protect it and baby it. But like that's not what this resin's going to be. It's not going to be cast. There's no way they would go back to Finecast.
Yeah,
it would just be modern resin. It's going to be solid. It's going to be good. There should be no worries. Will things break? Sure, but guess what? I have plastic on my desk for Season Sigmar, and you know how many things of those I've already broken? Yeah, sure. Everything breaks. You just fix it. It's going to be perfectly fine.
But I like this new Handmaiden. Always loved the Handmaidens. They were some of my favorite sculpts. I have a bunch of them because I really liked painting the Handmaidens. I just thought they were beautiful models. I thought they were some of the most beautiful in the range. I love the whole sort of lady wizard kind of, Knights, King Arthur, Knights of the Realm thing, right? And this is good. As somebody said, tactical flower. Yes, French Ferret in Dakota. I do love the tag. We got to get her up on something. So yes, now she's up on a flower. She reminds me of the old high elf who's up on the swirly twirly magic from the Skull Pass box set.
Oh yeah. See, to me, she reminds me of the old Alariel kit, or the most recent Alariel, because she was on top of flowers and like a breastplate. Yeah, I do really like too that it's the whole like hindsight's 2020. Now that we've seen the end times, I think the Bretonnian stuff's getting more interesting because they're leaning in slightly more to the fact that, hey, the lady is actually an elf god. They just don't know it. So like you're seeing that play, especially with the other the Handmaiden on the Pegasus, but I love that we can look back and readjust things slightly, but it still fits and just enhances without taking.
Absolutely. So good looking model. And then, of course, this is just the collection of our previously seen resin models. So our Duke or whatever he is on foot, who we know is in the launch box. The beautiful, beautiful Lady Elise Duchard on the unicorn. Like, oh my God, that model. It's still, this, by the way, I told you that the Pegasus Lord is like my second favorite of what we've seen. This is my favorite. This right. Like Lady Elise, like, man, I don't know, man, but this thing hit for me. Like this is where it's at. Okay.
She is the model that came out that made me go, yeah, let me actually consider doing a Bretonnian army. Why not? Because like I want to paint her, and I've done it for other things. The reason I have a Sylvaneth army is actually because I saw the Illyrio model and I bought it and painted it. Said, well, I should put an army around her. It's the same thing with this. I'm going to buy that model. I can't resist it, so I might as well put some men at arms and Knights of the Realm around her too.
Right. Yep. Okay. So, boy, it's been a, you know, Chuck, it's been a hot minute since we had stupid little dumb, porn bot spam, but here it is. How about that?
Boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome. They must have watched my review show I put up, and they're just like, oh, let me just connect this.
Yeah. So, it's fun times. All right. So, fortunately, that's why we have slow mode on, so they can't crazy spam the chat, and I can just quickly shoot them dead.
Get rid of it.
So yeah, 4 resin kit heroes. The Battle Standard Bearer on foot, Questing Knight Paladin with Great Weapon, Positively Radiant Lady Elise Duchard. They'll all be available at launch or shortly after in resin. So, because I assume this will actually take a few weeks/months to roll out the whole line, though we know the Bretts are half of the launch box, obviously, with the other half being their classic foe, the Tomb Kings. Who just like it's the unloved children now fighting each other.
Yeah, I mean, I know why. Like, those were the 2 cuts, and they've been blended, so that's perfect. That's what people want. I mean, if you want to do like a true lore, you'd probably throw Beastman against them, against the Bretonnians, which would be great. We get but no, they made a smart decision business-wise, and no one's unhappy about it. But we can still laugh at what could have. Yeah,
exactly. I do love that Bretonnians are known for, above all else, fighting weird enemies in a launch box. Like that's what they're known for above everything else. By the way, everybody, if you haven't hit like yet and you're excited about any of this stuff, hit like, do subscribe, do all those fun things, click things that make dings. It's a good time. All right. So great stuff, but it's not the only thing. We also have another resin model, of course, everybody's favorite, the Field Trebuchet. This is still the old model. I'm going to be honest. This model is crap. This is a fine cast kit. It's a crap model. It's bad. I love it. It's cute. Like, it's a cute little thing to put together. I love all the little dudes and all the little people that are around it. Like the little, the kid sitting on there, and just like, it's a bunch of like all the little people that are around it are fun. But I mean, it has a dog. It has a little dog, so that makes it a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah. But so like, but this was just a terrible kit. Like, it is warpy and bad and all of that. So like, ugh.
But you're probably gonna want it in the army, so
yep, I'm sure you will.
Don't rush building it. Take your time. Put in the effort. Make it solid.
Yeah. Now, the first thing that hit me, Chuck, when I read through this, they were like, "This is the line, right? Last but not least, you got the siege engine, okay?" And I was like, whoa, what are we missing here? Okay, so what we're missing is many different kinds of knights, right? So our knights errant, our questing knights, and our grail knights. Now the errant were also plastic because they were basically built out of the same kit as the Knights of the Realm, right? But then your questing knights were metal/fine cast, and your grail knights were metal/fine cast, right? And obviously they were rarefied. You didn't have as many of those in your army, but they were still pretty important. Like, generally you'd want like either a lance of questing or a lance of grail or a lance of both, right?
They were your hammer. You would just
yes. Pedro Santos, I'm new on this, clarify me, is this for Age of Sigmar collection or for another thing? No, this is for the Old World, launching in Q1 next year, which got confirmed. Yes, thank you, very good. Des4 said also, that's another big one, That is another big one I was going to mention. Thank you, Des4. No Green Knight.
Well, trying to think. He is an easy add later as a one-off
Sure.
for what he does.
100%. He'd be the type of hero they drop in, just be like, hey, he's here. Okay. Alongside these new and returning kits, which form the bulk, parens, or entirety of your force, there will
Thanks for
also
being vague.
be... Exactly. Thank you. This is the same thing I said. There will also be a selection of returning metal heroes and specialist units that will be available to order direct from gamesworkshop.com. So clearly that means we'll have made to order, exactly as you said, right? For some of these things. So metal heroes and specialist unit. Does that mean the Green Knight? Does that mean the Reliquary? Does that mean the knights, the questing knights, the Grail Knights? Does that mean that stuff all stays in metal and is like gonna be in the book and usable?
Or is it just you can buy it?
Or is just
why not make it? If you want to use it as this unit, go ahead.
Yep. I hate the vagueness in this one. We were so close to having like a real answer of exactly what's happening here, right?
And the problem is, this is a vague answer for one army. We have so much more. Like, why? Why haven't I rebased all of my old army? Like, I have plenty of high elves. I could. That's probably what I'm going to play to start for Old World. I could take out 3,000 points and still have 8,000 points left in the old base size. The reason I haven't, what if they decide to not, like, cause something like this, what if they just don't want to use this unit for whatever reason? I don't want to rebase. I've already rebased things so many times. I rebased all my old fantasy stuff to circles, and then it went back to squares. So I'm waiting.
Right.
I'm hoping before the official launch, or at least at the launch, but before the official launch would be so much better. Like, give us a month ahead of time. Here's a PDF and it's just a list of the army.
Yep.
And here's the base size for it.
Yep.
That way I know what's in the army. I can start rebasing my old stuff. Plan to get like, oh, you know what? I want more of this. No, I don't need rules. I don't care. I'll play whatever. But I want to know what's in every army, and I want to know what their new base size is.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I want right now.
Yeah, like, are you just making those models available so we can buy them if we want them, right? Like, hey, you want some Grail Knights? We'll made to order them, right? Which is fine, by the way. Like, I have no issue with that. Yeah. That's a good thing. Because, like, I don't know if you've looked recently on eBay what, like, new old stock in-box Grail Knights run on eBay. But it ain't cheap, okay? And so, like, making those available at retail and stopping scalpers from selling a bunch of them, like, great, A+, But if they're not going to be in the army, like, because it says bulk or entirety of your force, like, if they're going to have entries in the book, then fine. Great, okay, interesting. Like, then the majority of a lot of the army might be made up by very ancient sculpts, right? Because we really don't have that much heavy new plastic here. But, like, if it's in fact going to be that stuff is just there for your collection if you want to be a collector and get it, but it doesn't actually have rules. Is the specialist game studio operating under the same mandate that the normal studio does? Because the normal studio, nothing goes in the book that doesn't have rules, right? But that was not the world we lived in for the majority of our history of fantasy, right? You and I, Chuck,
we've converted how many models because there was no model for it? No model for it. Every book had 3 or 4.
Yep, exactly. You'd have tons of things in there. Like the entirety of the Tomb King's existence. We never had giant with bow or whatever, right? That guy wasn't there. It's just a ton of things you were converting yourself. But are we going back on that? Are these things going to have rules, but then you have to made to order them? Like, they got so close to giving us really all the details, because I read through that and I was like, okay, that's a much reduced line. Like, when I read through the article the first time, I was like, okay, that's a much reduced line, right? We lost all those things we mentioned: Green Knight, Reliquary, Questing Knights, Grail Knights, right? But it's still the bulk of Bretonnia. Like, it's recognizable as Bretonnia, right? I've got some interesting new characters. I've got some, I've got my knights. You've got your classic knights on horseback. You got the new knights on foot. Some cool heroes. Like, you got your ladies to cast. Like, yep, feels feels like Bretonia to me, right?
Yep.
And then I got to this end part where they decided to all of a sudden be like mysterious again, and I was like, come on, guys, what are we doing here?
So close. But
Yeah,
hey,
so
you know, we gotta help out the old world content creators like myself who need to speculate. You know, I need to figure out what's going on. So they give us more stuff to get through to Q1 to keep guessing on.
The speculation will continue. Yes, that's right. And you know, realistically, we don't have any big convention until LVO, like where they're gonna do a big reveal show.
Okay, we did it last year at the finale for the Warhammer US Open for the year. There was a reveal show. So maybe we'll get something there. I now granted, will it be Old World? I don't know.
Sure.
But I mean, they could do whatever they want. But I think that's the last chance for a reveal until this probably releases. Yeah.
Yeah, or until like an LVO. Like I would hope by LVO we're basically opening the kimono and telling the full story of what's going on here. Like that's the end of January. If this is really launching in early 2024, then please, by the end of January, we better know what's going on with this thing. Exactly like you said. Give us the ravening hordes. Give us the PDF, the models, the base sizes, the points, right? Something like that. Like whatever, man. Give us the thing so people can start actually understanding what their army's going to look like, what to base them on, what units are in the army.
Yeah, right? the worst thing potential for this game is because there's still going to be people who have played Total Warhammer 3 and didn't come in for fantasy, and there was no way to get it easily or cheap, so they probably didn't touch it, but they're interested.
Yeah.
And if you give us like only a week made to order, and you release the rules and everything the same day, those people are going to have zero clue what to do, especially too, like if we haven't seen the core rules, how do I make an army and how do I buy this stuff that I don't have time? Like, do you just smash buy everything and guess? But like, no, like it's
a lot of people will just decide no. They'll just jump off.
Right. All right. I just won't drop $500. I'll do it somewhere else or something, or I'll jump into AoS 40K hopefully. But
yeah. So there you go. That's it. That was the full show. I mean, like, I don't know. Let's sum up here, man. Overall, like I said, I'm still at an 8. I think this one was pretty great. A lot of stuff I'm really excited for. That Ionus Cryptborn model is just incredible. The new Belthanor or whatever guy is incredible. Like the Dawnbringers series continues to be good. I think they're finally hitting their stride on actually doing these narrative books, because I've liked the Dawnbringer books better than basically any of the other narrative series we've seen in AoS thus far. The mix of like the armies of renown, the new models, the story's pretty interesting. Like, this is actually hitting on kind of all cylinders. Obviously, I don't care about Path to Glory, but I'm sure the Path to Glory people are really excited about this as well. So
my only real concern is I enjoyed Broken Realms, but also it was heavily focused on Marathi and that fun stuff.
Right.
You know, that helped me get more enjoyment. Maybe someone who wasn't attached that deeply to that army. But yeah, they're really hitting a smooth storytelling transition from book to book, and it's setting things up nicely. My only real concern is, you know, as we ultimately probably move into the new edition, as we're all predicting because of the flow of business.
Sure.
Please don't just not write these for another 3 years.
Yeah.
Like I know it's harder, and I don't. And the thing is too, I don't really need rules. I'm a narrative gamer. Rules are fun, and I know rules sell it, but like, give me narrative stuff, not just on a Warcom article. Right? Give me narrative.
Not just in
books.
the last year of the dying embers of the edition. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, sure. When you're at the end of the edition, you want to crank things up to 11, just make it a little bit wacky. Sure, that's fine. Have fun with that. But give me something steady throughout, so I know what's going on. Like, okay, we have these two Dawnbringers going out. They already said one's going to fail, one's going to succeed. I said my guess. Okay, well, I don't want to wait 3 years to figure out what happens to this one that succeeded. Tell me what's going on with it in story, and not through random battle tone X.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to have to buy Flesh Eater Court's battle tome to figure out that that Dawnbringer was overrun by Nagash.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Right. Yeah. Give us actual advancement in the story. Yeah. Agreed. 100%. All right. Well, what did you all out there think? Hey, give us what you think. Drop it in the comments. What are you excited for? What did you think was a miss? What did you think is just meh? If you haven't hit like yet, hey, do that. Subscribe. Do all those things. We'll be back every week, as always, talking on Wednesdays. That will still happen. But thank you, all of you who showed up today to talk about this. Pretty exciting reveal. So hope you all enjoyed it as well. Chuck, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me on. Always fun to be on.
Absolutely. So yeah, hit all those things that make all those dings. We really appreciate it. And as always, we'll see you next Wednesday.